What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about 6 different Grayscale trusts today. We're going to be talking about LTCN, BCHG, HZen, GSOL, GBAT, and GSWE at the request of Brian M, Tink, and Paul O. Hit the like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. There's a specific kind of theme tonight, and that would be all-time highs. We're going to be talking about all-time highs because that's something that we don't normally talk about, right? Because I feel like I go in these seasons, let's call it, where I talk only about all-time highs, and then I talk only about the stuff that's in front of us, because I feel like you guys get bored whenever I talk about all-time highs over and over again, and then sometimes I get bored when I talk about the stuff that's right in front of us over and over again. I should just know, though, nobody gets bored of all-time highs. You guys would love it whenever I tell you your coin is going to, or your stock is going to be worth $1 billion. No, I don't know how much they'll be, but we will give it its best guess. If that sounds good to you, hit the like button, subscribe, and let's get started, my friends. So LTCN here. LTCN having a bit of a rough week to start, right? Down 7% right now on yesterday's price action. By the way, guys, I think this is going to be given back. I think yesterday was just a quick little like shakeout across the markets. It's because the Fed announced that they're going to push rates being cut until February, right? They're not going to do a rate cut this month, so they're going to do a rate cut next month is what the big drop was about. But that's a good thing. You want them to drop rates slowly, not fast. That's how you get us off. Anytime we've cut rates and it's been a bad thing for the stock market or the economy, it's been when they cut rates too fast. Cutting rates slow is not a bad thing. And I think that was just a narrative to scare people yesterday. A lot of noobs got scared yesterday, right? No big money was selling. You can see it. No big money. Go to your favorite whatever it is, right? No big money was selling. There's no volume, right? It didn't happen. It's just a news thing, and the news was everywhere, man. It's like I could hear it. I didn't even open my phone, and my phone was yelling at me. The Fed is pushing the interest rates cut. I can't even do it. The rate cut back a month. It's pushing it back a month, right? It's like it's everywhere. It's literally everywhere. Either that or I'm just that immersed in finances, but I swear that's all I heard today. It's like people were panicking, but it's a good thing. It's a really good thing. But man, let's get on with this. I'm getting hung up here. Okay, so I don't think it's a big deal. I don't think it's a big deal. And I think you guys already know the short-term analysis, and that's why predominantly I like to keep this focus on the long-term stuff, because we already know obviously where we're going to go in the short term, right? We haven't changed too much since the last video. We're moving up, likely above this high. Likely we'll probably find resistance around $25 to $30 would be my guess. At the highest $35, $25 to $35, most likely between $25 and $30. That's our next move. By the end of the month, I would expect that we are at least there, if not likely higher, right? I suspect by the end of the month we will break out of this trend, right? This next move could take us, to like Trump's inauguration or the week before the inauguration, next week, something like that, and we're up here, and then inauguration week comes on, we get a little pullback, and then going into the end of the month, going into the beginning of February, we start to break out and see new highs. I don't know, but I suspect we'll be at the top of this trend line, if not above it, by the end of this month. If we're at the top of it by the end of this month, something around $25 to $35. If we break above it, $30 to $35 and beyond are possibilities by the end of the month. But it's next month likely that's going to get things at a really fast pace. You think that we've seen a nice pace at all throughout any of this, and I'm sure you haven't, but just any of these moves here, as nice as they've been while they've come, when we break out of this trend here, it's going to be even more phenomenal, right? We're going to see stuff like this come back into the markets. So just for a little short-term stuff there. Looking at the monthly, and that's probably applicable to all Grayscale trusts, right? From a high to a low for a very long time, we were confident, very confident, that 2,300 was your minimum target. 5,000 was a pretty safe, or maybe not safe assumption, but a good maximum target to have for LTCN. Then we had one round of private placement sales. Then we had 2 rounds. Then we had 3, and then we had 4 rounds, I'm pretty sure, in 2024. If it wasn't 4, it was 3. 1's enough to hurt price growth. 2, 3, bro. They don't care about your gains, right? They don't care. They want to sell it to their buddies behind closed doors. It doesn't matter how high it gets here. It matters how high their pockets get behind closed doors, right? And it's not behind closed doors. It's all public. It's not like they're doing anything shady. I just think it should be illegal, private placement sales, but whatever. It's legal. It just doesn't seem fair to me, but or probably to the majority of people invested in this trust. But hey, what's the majority have to do with anything? It's not like this is a democracy, right? Anyways, $14.50 now. The targets would have been here, but likely you're not going there. If we're looking at LTC here, I still do suspect that LTC will be a good kind of indication as to what the expectations could be for LTCN, because you are tied to LTC. LTCN is directly tied to LTC, at least at its NAV price. Its market price is not, but its NAV price is. So at a base level, this coin or this stock would always have some native asset value to kind of cling on to, right? A floor price, if you will. And if Litecoin grows and if it sees new all-time highs this cycle, and I do think it sees new all-time highs, the likely all-time high targets that we could expect to be anything from probably around $1,200 to $2,200. That's a good minimum expectation, 12 to 22. And then I think high targets would be 45 to 6,300. Okay, so let's run with that. Let's also run with the assumption that LTCN, the Grayscale Trust, any Grayscale Trust probably top off before the underlying assets do. They probably top off before. So if LTC, its all-time high is up here, maybe LTCN tops off when LTC's here. Maybe. So if LTC moves up 2,000% from here, I would assume LTCN would also move up 2,000% from here, at least. Right, so that's that. Now, I don't know about you guys, but if we measured this, if we go back in time here, and we go from this low here in December of 2022 to this high here in April 2024, so December 2022 to April 2024, and we do the same thing for Litecoin, right? December 2022, which was here, to April 2024, which was here. Let's even take it a step further. We won't go from December. We'll go from the actual low. Let's go from the actual low to the actual high. That was a 170% move, right? And in that same time, LTCN made a 2,600% move. 170% move, not breaking out to new highs. And this one did a 2,600% move, right? So if Litecoin from here tops out here, and then by the time LTCN tops out, maybe Litecoin's here and it's up 2,000%, LTC is, I would assume LTCN's probably not up 2,000%, but maybe at least, let's say double. Let's say it's at least like double that. Okay, so instead of 2,000, maybe we're at 4,000. Okay, so I think it's safe to assume just by this alone, Litecoin seeing new all-time highs is a safe bet. I think it is a safe bet. And likely you don't even stop at double. Likely you'd probably see something more than double, maybe triple, maybe not, maybe more than triple even. It's possible. I mean, obviously you more than tripled this here, but I don't know if that means you have to do that exact same type of growth. But if you were to go to 6,000, that's 800. I could see 800. If you were to go to 8,000, you could see 1,200. Any and all of those are possible. It's really hard to guess, because all I can say is that the premium on this run will likely be smaller, right? Or maybe not the premium. Yes, the premium, but the disparity, the difference in the percentage growths, right? This percentage growth was 2,600%. This percentage growth was 170%. I think that the difference between those percentage growths and the native asset to the Grayscale Trust will be different this time around. I think they'll be closer together because you've had so much private placement sales. Does that make sense? 2,000%, likely you don't see from 170 to 2,600%. That's got to be like over a 10x, right? You're probably not going to see a 10x in growth, but could you see a 5x in growth? If it's 5x in growth, well then cool. That would mean that you could go all the way up to about $1,500. If it's 5x in growth and LTC tops up here, which means LTCN might top over there, I don't know. If LTC tops at 2,000, if 2,200, 2,500 is its top, maybe by the time LTCN tops, LTC is at like 1,000. Maybe it's at like 1,400. I don't know. Let's just say 1,200%. It moves up 1,200%. In which case, LTCN instead of 1,200%, let's say it does twice that, which is 2,400%. Well, that wouldn't get you to new all-time highs, but that basically puts you at your all-time highs, and that's kind of a good minimum expectation, right? And then if you were to do 3 times that, that'd be 3,600%, which would be at new all-time highs. If you were to 5 times it, that would be 6,000%, right? Which would also put you at new all-time. I think all I'm trying to say by all this, and it's a very rough, this is not the most sophisticated kind of thing, but if you're watching this, I hope you can understand where I'm drawing my conclusions from, right? I think it is safe to assume LTCN sees new all-time highs. It's just the question that isn't safe to, or maybe the answer that's not safe to assume is where it will top, right? I think that it will top above new all-time highs, but where specifically will it? It could be right above all-time highs. It could be all the way at $1,500. I genuinely believe LTCN could break $1,000 and even get as high as maybe even upwards to $2,000. But I don't think you see 2,300. I think you would, at a bare minimum worst case scenario, break above $271. I think at a bare minimum worst case scenario, you would break above $271. But generally, I would expect something probably closer to $1,000 to $1,500 give or take $100 in either direction. That's kind of my expectation. Okay, so moving on from there, LTCN, if you like that part, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. BCHG is the next one, and now that I've given a kind of premise as to how we're doing this, this should kind of fly by, right? It should kind of fly by. Again, it's not because I hate all of these other coins. You guys know I love all of these other coins too. I think we've understood the kind of prerogative here, the perspective that we're going for, or how we're establishing it in the least, right? Bitcoin Cash here, I think is going to be worth 23K by the end of the cycle. Okay, so that's a big amount. Let's say BCHG, if Bitcoin Cash goes to 23K, let's say maybe it sees a 100% move by the end of its finale, like on that last month. Maybe BCHG tops off just below 13K or like right around there. Maybe we see a 2,800% growth, 2,800% growth. So if BCH grows 2,800%, maybe BCHG grows 2,800%, which would put BCHG all the way at 170, right? And again, private placement sales hurt BCHG and LTCN, but they probably hurt them less than most Grayscale trusts because they had the lower premiums, right? Everything else had higher. If you were a private placement investor, why would you invest in LTCN or BCHG when you can invest in GSOL or FileG or whatever other trusts they had that were available for private placement sales? I know not all of them were, but a lot of them were, that had way higher premiums. Why wouldn't you invest in those, right? And I suppose you'd invest in BCHG or LTCN because they're more stable, more secure prospects. But I mean, with the high premiums and the private placement sales, you take away a lot of the risk of buying some of those less stable coins. Anyways, 2,800% BCHG, if we're seeing a 2,800% growth here, the assumption would be that you don't stop there though, right? You go a little bit more, maybe you see 1,272, right? If it's 2,800%, that's not quite double, but hey, 250, I think BCHG does see 250 or more. I personally do, as long as BCH can see 20K or more, right? Maybe it sees $300 if it doubles. It's that same kind of percentage growth. Maybe BCHG could run all the way up to 527. I genuinely think it's possible. Does it is the question, but I think it could. You know, I don't think this is possible anymore. I don't think that's possible, but something like that, definitely possible. Let's see. Maybe Bitcoin Cash doesn't top at 23K. I'm crazy. C-Zar, you're crazy. It's not going to 23K. It's too late in the cycle. We haven't made the move. It's not going to happen. What? We're going to do this by the end of the cycle? No way, bro. It's not happening. Okay, fine. Let's play it that way. Maybe we're only at 13K. The minimum target, 13K. And then in which case, maybe by the time BCHG tops off, BCH is at new all-time highs, but maybe we're at like 6K. Let's just like cut it in half, right? $6,500. 65 would put you down to about 1,400%. So 1,400%, you know, if we were at 1,400% for BCHG, that still puts you at new all-time highs. Still puts you at new all-time highs. So worst case scenario, BCHG likely does see new all-time highs. It's basically inevitable. 1,400%, if you were to double it, it's 2,800%. And that's 170. Again, I'm only doubling it, not because that's what I expect it to do, but because that gives you a bit of a closer price to the real price. Likely, whatever you see BCH, LTC, Zen, Solana, BAT, SWI, whatever you see all these coins do, their Grayscale trusts will likely more than double them, right? I mean, this last move, again, just to show it in reference, we saw more than a 10x growth comparison to Litecoin in LTCN. This was a 75x BCHG saw from that same time frame, December 2022 to April 2024, right? Bitcoin Cash from its low in November 2022 to the high that it had, that was an 8x. You saw an 8.2x. BCHG saw a 7.5x, right? It's enormously, or sorry, 75x. Why did I say 7.5? 75x compared to an 8x. It's an enormous amount larger than just a 2x. So when we get back to the idea of this thing matching Bitcoin Cash tit for tat with the 1,400% move, maybe not. When we get to the idea of doubling that to 2,800% and it's at 170, maybe not, right? Even in your worst kind of case scenario, I see Bitcoin Cash BCHG Trust probably hitting 250 or higher, right? Because again, that's doubling from $6,000, right? If Bitcoin Cash is 6,500 and BCHG is topping off by the time it's there, that is a grossly underestimated amount for what BCHG could be, right? And this is already, I think, a grossly underestimated amount of where Bitcoin Cash should be by the time BCHG tops off. So if that's any inclination there, I definitely do think BCHG has more of a chance of seeing these extended zones than LTCN does. But does that mean it's going to grow more? I don't know. You know, I think BCHG doesn't see 100x from here. It's certainly capable of seeing like a 94x. I think it's capable of that. What's LTCN capable of? I mean, it could do a 30x. I would say LTCN's minimum is greater than BCHG's minimum. And also it seems like its maximum potential might even be greater than BCHG's or around the same as BCHG's. Okay, so they're pretty comparable, but I think LTCN's minimum is better than BCHG's minimum, to be completely fair. That's BCHG, and it might not seem like that. That's the whole reason I'm clarifying, is because LTCN, I don't think it's as likely to see its fib extensions, but just because BCHG is more likely to see its fib extensions doesn't mean that it's more likely to grow more through the rest of the cycle, right? It grew more in the beginning of the cycle than LTCN did, right? LTCN didn't grow this much in the so LTCN can grow more in the second cycle, BCHG can grow less, and BCHG still sees its extensions where LTCN doesn't. Does that make sense? BCHG. All right. HZen is the next one. HZen here, Grayscale Horizen Trust. Bull flag. It looks like a bull flag, cup and handle, whatever you want to call it. Definitely looks like it wants to move higher. I don't know how high it's going to go, so let's just play this game that we've been playing. All right. Zen USD. Zen here, I think, does see new all-time highs, right? I definitely do think it sees new all-time highs. From a high to a low here, cycle high to cycle low. Minimum target is 442, but likely you see targets that are higher than that, okay? It's probably not even fair to have the 1272 on there for all-time high targets. But, I mean, that would be an 18x at a minimum. What's Zen at market cap-wise? Oh, that's great, yeah. Zen's a good one to invest in, guys. I think this is a good like crypto project too. 361 million, yeah. Oh yeah, you got it, man. 361. I mean, if you wanted a 10x, if you wanted a 100x, you could. Right? This genuinely, you guys, this thing could 100x. It could more than 100x, right? Because that's the kind of market cap you're dealing with. 100x is 36 billion. You could double. You could see it 200x if you really wanted to in Zen. I'm not saying you do. But you could go all the way up to this one. You could be worth 37 to 5,000. It's possible. It's very possible. So it's hard to say. The all-time high prediction is not going to be as reliable with this, right? But I'll tell you what, I think at a minimum, I do think at a minimum Zen would at least see $724. I do at a minimum think that, right? Maybe to be completely realistically fair, at a true minimum, I would think it actually sees 442. But personally, I think you go higher than that. That's a 20x from here. That's a 20x from here, right? So I don't know how high HZen goes. I'm not going to pretend to know, because I promise you, no matter all the numbers I could give you, I can paint up all the stories you want, but I don't know. We really don't know, because I don't think it's fair to assume where Zen's going to be by the end of the cycle. I don't think it's fair to assume where HZen's going to be by the time it's done, where Zen's going to be as well. It's not going to be fair, so I'm just going to give you a given very likely minimum target to achieve, okay? Very likely minimum target that you achieve. And when I say you achieve, I don't mean that you stop here. I mean, you're probably going to plow through this thing like it's a pile of snow, right? You're just going to blast, right? And like not a fat, if you live in a place that snows, not like that heavy, dense stuff. I'm talking about that fluffy powder, right? You're going to hit it and it's just going to poof everywhere, right? You're going to plow through this number, $192. You're at $4.69. That's my assumption, right? Because I don't think Zen stops here. And if Zen doesn't stop here, then that would mean that this is a 2x of that. You don't stop here. No way. Like you're going to, so phenomenal, right? And we can base that too. Let's just see from a low to a high here. 33x from August 23 to March 24. That was an 8x. 8x, 23x, more of a 3x in growth, right? So maybe a 2 to a 3x in overall growth is more acceptable for this kind of one, but I don't know. Again, to call where the all-time high is going to be with the absolute lack of data that we have, best guess I could give you is it's probably going to be above $200. HZen. GSOL, next one. A little bit tricky too on this one, right? Because we don't know. Are we getting that ETF? Are we not? Let's ask Grok. Does Sol, I was asking Grok If we really are sending, yeah, I was asking this because that was something that was interesting. I was just looking for the stuff on that. I like to look up things sometimes, guys. Okay, don't judge me. Does Sol get an ETF approval in 2025? Let's just see. What do you think, Grok? Hit me. Hit me. Hit us all, buddy. Based on the provided information. Launch a spot Solana ETF. Oh, predicts. Okay. Under a new chair. Okay. Wave of cryptocurrency ETFs 2025. Okay. It's not guaranteed. Situation remains fluid. Yeah. So he's not really saying yes or no, basically. There's a lot of analysts that predict yes, but that more likely means no than yes, right? All the analysts for Bitcoin, you guys, all of them, whenever they said that the ETFs were going to get approved, they didn't get approved. But then whenever the majority of them said that it wasn't going to get approved, that's whenever it did get approved. So it's just how it happens sometimes. So don't count on that. Don't count on experts, quote unquote, saying they know something and then it doesn't happen, right? It doesn't mean that we're going to get a Solana ETF. It doesn't mean we're not going to. I don't know. Let's take it from the stance that you do get a Solana ETF, all right? So we're at least being pessimistic, which means that you can only be pleasantly surprised from here and not disappointed, ideally, right? That's what we want to do. We want you guys to be excited, not disappointed. $15.10, G-Sol. $15.10. That's your NAV price. Come on. Basically there. Let me put you at the right number here. $15.10, okay? Right there. If Solana sees its all-time high at 1,000 or 2,000, like I think it will, minimum target for Solana, let's say it sees it at 2,000. Well, then that could mean if Solana's at 1,000, you got 467% growth, 467% growth from your NAV price. Because at that point, if you got an ETF approved, you would link up. You would not exceed this. Yet that would be an $85 price. So worst case scenario, absolute worst case scenario I can think of. Oh, wait, actually, no. Because if it was at its NAV price, that means G-Sol wouldn't top off beforehand. So then you'd get that. Yeah, you get the full 467. So if Solana only goes to $1,100, then G-Sol will only go to $85. If Solana sees $2,200, like I think it will, I personally, that is my expectation, that'd be 1,000% growth. G-Sol would grow 1,000%, which is a 11x as well. We would see G-Sol by the end of the cycle then at about $170. Now, this is only if the Solana ETF gets approved. Which if I had to bet on it, if you had my opinion, I would say no. I would say I don't think it's going to get approved. But looking at this chart, man, I think it does. I think I still don't. I would assume all of this. I think that's only because of somebody on the inside knew something that was legitimate for a Solana ETF getting approved, or they made a preemptive decision and they heard everybody else that was holding this. They had a big bag, but that kind of volume, man, that kind of move. It's with a purpose, and that purpose is get out. We're going to track NAV because we are getting an ETF. So I personally do expect you probably do see something between $168 and $85. It's a big range, but that's the range we're giving you. If an ETF doesn't get approved, throughout this cycle, well, then, maybe G-Sol could be worth several $100s, man. Maybe it could be worth $1,000, but it's not appropriate of me to say. I don't think it'd be worth more than 1,000, but maybe it could be worth as high as 1,000 if the ETF doesn't get approved. But it's hard to say. Maybe even more, right? An ETF, if the ETF gets denied, watch Solana shake off the cobwebs and then it runs, and then G-Sol runs even harder. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's really hard to say, kind of speculative to say. But my assumption would be, if I had a safe assumption to make, it'd be between about $85 and $170 for G-Sol by the end of the cycle. And then if optimistically by a miracle the Solana ETF doesn't get approved in 2025, we get no Sol ETF in 2025. Well, then probably, I don't know. Even then, it's hard to say. Like $300, $500, $1,000. Could you go higher than that? Maybe. But I doubt Solana goes too high if the G-Sol ETF doesn't get approved, right? So, or not G-Sol, but just a Solana ETF doesn't get approved. Anyways, that's G-Sol. GBAT is the next one for Tink as well here. Let's see. So this one as well, probably not the easiest or best to kind of give all-time high predictions on, but we can try. I think BAT is capable of seeing new all-time highs, and I think it will see new all-time highs this cycle. I'm going to get this low. I don't normally get that low, but I think I should. Something's telling me I should. Because I think you're respecting that 382 already. I think that you should, yeah. So that would be at a minimum of about a 15x, 16x. Let's just say that, right? Minimum of a 16x. Maybe you're at half that. That's at $4. Maybe you're at $2. So instead of a 16x, you only are at a 8x. Well, I could have done that math in my head, obviously. 8x. 8x from here, GBAT, puts you at about $58, $50, $55, $56. So if you were to do that, but you were to double it, you go up to 112, something like that. Maybe you see that by the end of the cycle, 112. Maybe you see that. I like your worst case scenario because again, you top off before BAT does. I guess if I'm going to cut this in half and then double it, why do I need to do that, right? I'm like, this math seems like too much. What if BAT goes all the way up to $10? You see a 40x, something like that. Could you see a 40x here? I think so. And again, the reason why I'm actually doing it this way is because what I would do is I would just take this 40x and I would cut it in half because I would assume GBAT wouldn't top off while BAT's at $10. It would top off maybe when BAT's at $4 or $10 or $4 or $5, right? Half of this. But then all I do is when I take that half measurement, I apply it here and then I double it because the Grayscale trusts double or outperform. So I think that really if you just take this measurement and you apply it here, it actually is pretty accurate. I mean, probably even underestimating it, to be completely fair. So 286 likely or higher would be my safe bet. If BAT does see new all-time highs, okay. I shouldn't say safe bet. I should say maximum bet. I'm sorry. I would bet that this thing can go above $300 is like your maximum, but at a minimum, I would expect, what is that, $110 at a minimum, something like that. It will at least break 100. At a maximum, you could break 300. Much past that, I don't know. So I'm not of help after that. But I hope that helps to some degree. You're at $7 now, right? GBAT, and that's if BAT sees new all-time highs. Does BAT see new all-time highs? I think it does. But could it go higher than this even? Could I be underplaying it? Yeah, it could. It really could. I think BAT, you guys, basic attention token is one of the more like useful, practical purposes of cryptocurrency. What BAT is, and therefore GBAT as a trust of BAT, is actually, it's one of my most favorite cryptos. Like genuinely, for what it is as a mission case, it's actually something that would be useful not just for crypto but for the world, man. It would be very useful for the world. Like this is this shit right here, guys. BAT. I'm taking a second. I did this last time too. This coin. Stuff like this, it might not be this exact coin, but if it is this coin, this thing's going to be huge one day. If it is this coin, but if not, something like this coin it's going to be utilized everywhere, man. It's like I don't know, man. Like you hear about it when they talk about crypto, right? Maybe you first get into crypto and you hear this all the time. You hear people say crazy things like, one day you're going to get paid to watch ads. Well, how are they going to do that? They're going to do it with crypto. Well, what crypto? How's it going to get set up? Basic attention token, that's how. What they're doing, that's exactly how. Your engagement, your interaction with advertisements and with whatever it is, I mean, specifically advertisements, you get rewarded for it because your time is valuable, right? And we know that because advertisers pay a lot of money to get access to your information. Hackers, they go to great lengths just to get your information. You, if you're providing information, if you're interacting with something, or you're watching advertisement, you should get paid for it, but you don't. They waste your time. They charge you for your time, but you don't get paid for it, but they charge your time. Whatever it is you're watching or participating in, when you see an ad, your time is being charged, but you're not getting rewarded for it. Crypto is going to change it. Crypto is going to change that. You will get rewarded for advertisement, but the only way that's going to be possible is with coins like BAT, with basic attention tokens. So I don't think it's going to happen. I don't know if this is going to be the coin that brings about all of that, but it is one of the first coins to even engage that or attempt something like that. And a coin like this, if not this exact token, will literally change how day-to-day human life goes about, like in the future, in the very near future. So again, I'm just saying that in respects to how high could this thing go this cycle. I don't know. If this was the cycle for BAT, dude, maybe it sees a multi-100x, in which case GBAT's going to outperform everything else we've talked about today, but I don't know. Right? It's very speculative. G-SWI for Mr. Paulo. You said SWI and then you said G-SWI. I don't see no G-SWI, my man. You did say G-SWI, I swear. I'm going to look up SWI Grayscale. Is there no G-SWI? Maybe you just said G-SWI. Or maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm missing something. You know what? That's okay. Maybe you meant to say G-SOL and not G-SWI. I don't know. Or you were just saying SWI. Maybe you were just being funny. I don't know. But you know what? We'll just talk about SWI real quick. Real quick. Looking at it on a monthly basis. Also, you know, let's do all-time highs for SWI in the essence of this video. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you haven't. SWI number 12 coming out of nowhere. Don't we always have these coins, right? Every single cycle, the new coin is the hottest commodity, and it makes its way to the top 10 for one cycle. I'm just saying, right? This happens every cycle. The top 10 is ever changing, you guys, except for XRP, BNB, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and USDT. Right, those, other than that, it's pretty interchangeable outside of that. Dogecoin maybe. $14.1 billion. This is SWI's first cycle. It will absolutely not do a 10x from here. It absolutely will not do an 8x from here. So you're not going to break $100 billion. So 7x would be the most I give you. $32. You're at 468. 7x is the most I give you. $35 to $30. That's the most I give you, SWI. I don't think you go more than that. If you're looking for a coin that can provide a 10x or more, this is not the coin for you, my friends. That's all I'm trying to say. But it's gonna change the world. But it's done so much. But it's blah blah. Yeah, I know. There's a coin like this every cycle, and people make the mistake of buying it when it's in the top 12, not whenever it's outside of the top 100, which is when you should have bought it if you want to see gains, right? There are a lot of people who are talking about it now because they have seen gains already. You're not going to see more gains from here, right? SWI's not going to outperform, and I think we can validate that actually real quick if we just look at this chart. Others, SWI. I'm doing too much right now, guys. USD. I need to cut this video now so I can just move on with myself. If this goes up, it means that SWI is losing value. If it goes down, that means SWI is gaining value versus the average coin. So clearly it's gone down, but you look to be in this kind of M pattern, which is very suggestive that you're about to bottom out in reverse. It really does look like a perfect M, doesn't it? It looks perfect. Low to high. You could go a little lower. SWI could outperform the most of the crypto market over this next month, maybe. But that would be it. You're at your wit's end here, man. Bullish divergence showing on the weekly. Again, this chart, if it goes up, that means the altcoin market outperforms SWI. That's what that means, right? And if it outperforms SWI, that means why are you in SWI, right? is what that would mean. But anyways, guys, that's all I got for you. If you like the video, hit the like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Take it easy. And Paul, if you're watching this still, man, I don't know if I just got confused. Maybe you didn't say G-SWI. Maybe I saw something else and I just wrote that down. I don't know, man. But let me know. Clarify. I'll see you on the next one, guys. Take care. Bye.